Welcome to School Facilities and Operations. I'm Burke Jones, and I'm the host of this podcast. And every episode, we bring on either other K-12 facilities guys and ladies to share with us some of their knowledge and just have a great conversation like we would have if we went out to dinner together at a conference or something like that. And then the other kind we have is when we bring on like one of our trade partners, whether it's a roofer or a paving guy or whatever, any trade that we need to know about and utilize. I kind of bring them on and pick their brain and learn everything we can from them. But today I am joined by Keith Watkins. He is the Director of Facilities at the City School District of New Rochelle in New York. So welcome, Keith.
Welcome. Thanks for having me, Burke. I look forward to our conversation.
Sounds good. Well, I'm really glad to have you. Maybe just tell us a little bit about your background and a little bit about your district, and we can kind of go from there.
Sure. So, as you said, Keith Watkins. I'm on my 33rd year in K-12 facilities related public education. First 27 years were in the upstate area. So not to be confusing anyone on Long Island, anything of New York State would be upstate. But for me personally, Syracuse, New York is where I called home, in a little town 20 minutes north of there called Phoenix, New York. I had an 80-acre farm. I have 3 boys who are now 19, 20, and 22. Yeah, it was a great lifestyle. I do miss the farm, but I've been 6 years here now down in New Rochelle. Like I said, in November, I'll start my 34th year. I got just over 3 years before I plan to retire. So I'm a past president of the New York State School Facilities Association. That encumbers all of New York State except for the city, New York City. We have over 800 members. We have 18 chapters or regions, so to say. Our annual conference is in Saratoga, New York, every October. We have about 400 attendees, meaning schools, facilities, related folks. And then with our business partners, we sell out every year with about 200 plus vendors. When we approach the 1,000-person mark for those conferences, they're very well attended and highly sought after. I'm also the past president of the National School Management Association. It's about 17 states currently. I've been a member for that for about 6 years. It's a little foggy because I was the COVID president. It's not a title you want, but we did it, and I think we're stronger for it. But yeah, my year there as president was 2020, so it was quite an interesting ride, to say the least. I think we were the first association, actually, due to the timing of COVID, and when we hold our conference, which is usually the beginning of February, we actually pulled off a conference in February of 2021 in South Carolina with about 52 attendees. So we had it. Our business partners were thankful for it, and we all took home something from it, so it was worthwhile in the end. I work here in New Rochelle. We are called the first small city outside of New York City. There's a couple in between us and New York City, like Mount Vernon, that are much larger. They get into the 40, 45 plus buildings for their school districts, but we have 11 facilities. We do have the second largest high school in New York State at 530,000 square feet with approximately 3,400 students. A little over 400 staff work at that building. But yeah, we're about 1.6 million square feet with 11,000 students. My department, which I'm the director of, we have about 110 employees in our district. And I do oversee all custodial maintenance and grounds, and all those things that go with it. So that's a little bit about me, and here we are.
Well, that's fascinating background. So I looked up New Rochelle on the map.
Yep.
And so I can really understand kind of how close you guys are to what I'll call New York City. I mean, you're basically connected. And
yeah.
So are they multi-story schools, or how? Because here in Kansas, like, we're pretty much one level. We spread out, like,
Yeah, no, we're all of our buildings are multi-level. Most of them are 3 levels minimally. Like I said, with the with a few of the buildings, there's been additions, like in most facilities. You start with the building that has the basement, first level, second level. With certain additions, we didn't go all the way down to the basement, so it would just be an extension, slab on grade of the first floor. So there are some interesting elevation changes in a couple of my elementaries. I have 7 elementaries, 2 middles, a high school, and then an off-site academy that we lease. My smallest elementary is 62,000. My largest elementary is 124,000. My 2 middle schools are roughly about 190,000 each. And then I said, like, my high school is 530,000 square feet, and you can just get lost in that building if you don't know where you're going.
Yeah, it's fascinating. That's what I was trying to figure out, how you had 11,000, because we have 12 school buildings here, but about half that in enrollment.
Yeah, so you probably have just smaller buildings,
We do, like,
my high school, which we just closed out $106 million capital project. We're proposing a small one for this year of 30 million, so that next year, with our debt service and how state aid works in New York State, we'll probably be going out for another 110 next year. So lots going on, lots of changes. Yeah, my high school alone has 3 turf fields at that complex. And there 2 are your traditional football, soccer, lacrosse. One is a soccer, softball. It's a really weird shape, so it can encumber like a multi-use field, but that's all turf infield as well. So it's a pretty incredible property, I have to say. Very proud of it.
That's amazing. It's interesting to hear you say lacrosse, because that's a sport that in the Midwest is just not, like, we don't play that at the high school level.
Yeah. Well, we do have wrestling, sir, and that is my background. So I can assure you, we would be in the same field coming to the wrestling after the NCAA finals. I just loved watching a few weeks ago. So we do have a lot of sports in common. So
yeah, that's fantastic. So one of the things I think I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, just because it's something I think everybody's, I don't know whether struggles with is the right word, but I know I'm trying to find the exact right system, whatever you want to call it, in regards to custodial. We're doing zone cleaning for the most part here. We have one school where I'm calling it a pilot program for team cleaning, and it's going really, really well.
Good.
But I just wanted to pick your brain, see what you've had experience with, what you're doing now, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, well, with 33 years in the business currently, Burke, I am actually, I was a trainer for team cleaning back in the day. I want to say from 1997 to 2000. I was in a district that piloted that. They went out, they sent a few of us out to certain states. They sent 2 of us to 2 different states to get the same training so we could come back and collaborate to see what was different. But yeah, have experience with team cleaning. I believe it was, with Concept 4, and who started that whole program. And, I'm not gonna, I may have preferences for certain cleaning types, but I think every certain type has pros and cons. It really depends on what is your vision, what are your goals, what is your staffing experiences and skill level. Can they pick up on things early? Are they sometimes a little bit easier in a certain process? As it's that flip of the coin. Do you want all new employees who are like sponges and pick up on things quickly and can learn? Or do you want those senior tenured folks who may have a couple of bad habits that you wish they didn't? So there's that fine balance. Everybody serves a purpose, and in our roles, we're here to make everyone successful with the resources and our own experiences and abilities. And I feel we have a very robust cleaning program that I call more cleaning for health. It's really kind of a team cleaning, zone cleaning hybrid. So what we do is we have assistant custodians at all buildings for the elementaries that's on second shift. And then the secondary and high schools, we actually have second shift custodians. And at the high school, we have a custodian with 2 assistants, because the crew size on second shift at my high school, which is a large building I was telling you about, we have 28 full-time employees on that shift on second shift. So wow, okay. It's a large crew. It's the largest crew of all my buildings. So if I had to pick one, I would say we more zone clean than team clean. But going back to the supervision piece of it, all of the night supervisors, they start out by understanding what's on the schedule, for the evening, to make sure that all the needs of our community members and teams and everything's set, and we've got them headed in the right direction. Those supervisors are tasked with vacuuming entry rugs, stairwells, and then mopping those stairwells as needed, and then dust mopping all of the hallways. We have converted to all disposable microfiber. We no longer launder in-house or use a textile company. After COVID, it was one of the changes we made to eliminate or lessen the chances of cross-contamination. So they will dust mop hallways, and then they will get on our auto scrubbers, and they will be in charge of auto scrubbing the hallways. So what that does is it builds in the supervision. It causes that supervisor to be throughout the building multiple times per night. So they can see where the staff are. You know, if it's a half hour before their first break, they can say, okay, they're normally here. A, they're either missing, where are they? Or B, they're ahead or they're behind. So they can start to communicate, hey, if you're getting done early tonight, you know, can you help out in the other area, or will you need help tonight? So that it has built-in supervision, and that's an attribute I really like. And then another person will be a restroom person. They'll take a Kaivac machine or a Hilliard CC17 machine, and they'll go and take care of, clean and disinfect all of our group style restrooms. So if I'm a light duty person, or if I'm assigned to an area, I have my cart, which again is that same CC17. We don't have the typical custodial carts anymore. I got rid of those 2 years ago. Everyone's been assigned a machine that basically holds 17 gallons of water, has chemical injection, and stores all their supplies on it. So they go in, they do their routine. They have laminated job cards on all their carts. So if a sub comes in, they're trained on the chemicals. They just need to know, you know, step by step, this is how you get in and out of a room the fastest. So after we clean desktops, they'll take that CC17 machine and they'll literally spray all the desks, let it air dry. The excess on the floor will be flat mopped out, and then they'll move on to the next room. But the restroom person, what that does is those folks assigned the classrooms, they're not dust mopping hallways, they're not auto scrubbing hallways, they're only cleaning sinks and bathrooms that are self-contained in the rooms they're assigned to. They're not doing drinking fountains, they're not doing group style restrooms, they're staying on task in the classroom, so to say.
So do you guys have carpet or hard surface in your classrooms?
We have mostly VCT and LVT. We have, with that $106 million project, we have a lot of new LVT, which I really love and support. That brought a whole new level of time savings and maintenance that, you know, it's to me, I know some folks choose to put a sealer or a finish on it, which to me defeats the purpose of that product.
Yeah.
My high school is now more than 50% LVT. So this summer, it was kind of awkward because they felt really weird. They said, hey, they thought they were going to be done early, you know, for the first time ever, because with the LVT, they cleaned all the furniture, they moved it to one side, they went in and scrubbed the LVT, put the furniture on the other side, scrubbed the other side, did a rinse mopping, and they said you didn't have to remove the furniture out in the hallway, which of course, you know, here our annual fire inspections are on 11-month rotation. So every time that our fire inspection falls in the summer, the firemen have to write us up for excessive storage in the hallway. It's just the way it is, right? And then we send a picture of it once it's gone, and they forget about it, but it's there when they do it. So not having to put all that furniture out in the hallway saves a ton of time. And I really like the LVT product.
I really like the LVT as well. We have it in all of the hallways in our high school, and I have it in some cafeterias and stuff too. The only issue I've had with it is if somebody's dragging something that has a sharp point on it, you'll forever now have a scratch in your LVT. And
yeah, I would say, you know, there's different flavors, right? So I have a mix of Mohawk and Mannington kind of products throughout and I always try to have my architect spec the product with that second wear layer. It's a much thicker, and you know, with you know, if you take a green scrubby or even those white Mr. Clean sponges, some of those streaks that you see will tend to fade a little quicker. But I would never want anyone to think that LVT is maintenance free. But in the long run, you're going to get a 10 to 14-year warranty, and you don't have all the environmental issues and safety issues of stripper putting it down the drain, someone slipping and falling, someone inhaling all those stripper, even though the green strippers,
Right.
there's a whole process with that we probably don't have time to get to today, but it eliminates a lot of training, a lot of safety, and time is great.
Yeah. So did you implement this custodial program when you arrived at this district, or was it already kind of that way, or what?
No, I totally implemented. That was really the main purpose. I've been the director here now for almost 2 years, but I've been here for 6. I was hired as an assistant director in charge of custodial services. I was a director for 14 years prior upstate. So across the states, and I think that's pretty common in most states, as you get close. So downstate, it's just a little different than upstate with their titles and their civil service stuff like that. So I was strictly hired for custodial operations, and
Okay.
no, they were just doing something different. That's all.
Okay. Well, I've got a new supervisor of custodial and maintenance that's about to start with me.
Great.
And he doesn't have like custodial background,
Mhm.
but he's a incredible leadership background. So we're going to be working through, getting him up to speed on all of that. And I don't really either. I mean, I was an architect before this, but in
Yeah.
3 years here, I've learned the basics. Like I could go clean if I had to.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I've been attracted to this team cleaning concept for really no other reason than just accountability and the ability to easily inspect facilities and know where your employees are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I think the guy's name was Jim Harris, who started that Concepts for Team Cleaning. It was really a shockwave across. Really people really jumped in. Some are still doing it, some are not. And again, like people like me who have had the experience in both, I've kind of created my own little hybrid. I would say for your new guy coming on, and you said you were an architect. I got a question for you. Just remind me. But I would say, what, like in New York State, I have the New York State School Facilities Association. I have the National School Plant Management Association. The networking capabilities in those associations is just incredible. It's incredible. So I would just highly recommend that you get yourself, and even this new person that's coming on, really attached to these associations and wealth of knowledge so that you can ask those questions. And there is no dumb question. I'll support that to the end. Getting connected with these associations will be very beneficial to all.
absolutely. Yeah. In fact, the second week he's here, we're going Missouri School Plant Facility Managers Association, whatever.
Charlie Branham.
Yeah, so they have a very active group there, and they're doing a 1-day custodial because they have like a certification process
Yep.
that they've implemented. And so we're going to go and attend that 1 day custodial operations.
I'm very familiar with them, and actually I saw Charlie in a conference earlier this week in New Jersey, and actually Sean Dilday from Missouri is our president-elect. He'll become president next year for NSPMA. So very familiar with those group of folks, very talented group, and they're no nonsense. They know how to put on training sessions, and you'll get a lot out of them.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to that. Just to help him get a little more educated and an outside perspective, and hopefully make some connections that he can, network.
No, they are connected. Like I said, they're one of the 17 states, a part of NSPMA, and they can definitely guide you on membership and things going on in other states that you might find helpful. So the question I was going to ask you is, being an architect and now being a director of facilities, what is your take on, a lot of my experience with architects was, oh, you only need that one custodial closet down at the other end of the hallway, and it's 3.5 by 3.5, and that should be fine for the whole first floor. What's your takes on that now?
So my take, even when I was an architect, I think our firm did a really good job of making sure that we listen to all of the stakeholders. But because I know when we designed schools, we didn't just design one closet, but everybody asked me those questions like, as an architect, you probably loved glass. Now, do you hate glass? I'm like, no, Like,
Right.
I think it's worth the time to maintain things that look good.
Sure. No,
And if it means it takes a little more time, then
Yeah.
that's what it means. Because I think that the design of the school directly impacts the staff and the students that walk in those doors every day.
Yeah, well, we have codes for how many, toilets and urinals we have per kids and drinking fountains. It's like, I just never understood, like right now, the big thing is, all these installation of EV chargers, right? I gotta go EV, you gotta go green. It's like, why didn't they just give me a small storage room, right, connected to my custodial closet? Because, you usually see auto scrubbers right on stand-on burnishers. They're usually at the end of a hallway, illegally stored. They shouldn't be there. Why not just give us a closet with a row of outlets so we can pull these things in, empty them, pull them right over, charge them, and walk out, instead of cluttering hallways? And now, like I said, the big push is now I got to rip up parking spots to put infrastructure in for EV charge. Like, should have done this stuff for custodial equipment when you built the building, but
even then, like when I got here, we were about halfway through $114 million bond issue project. So we had a variety of projects going on. But yeah, we still didn't design anything like that, which we should have. I mean, it doesn't take any more,
right.
Really cost or time to get it done when you do that. Because otherwise you end up with these floor scrubbers in front of electrical panels and everything else.
Exactly.
I mean,
saying the same thing. I agree. So
yeah,
maybe people will listen and they'll start to plan these things a little better. I don't know.
maybe. We can only hope.
I can only hope.
So let's talk a little bit about organizations and like what's the best, like if I want, like I can go, like to the annual conference or whatever, but like where do you find the most value is it really getting in, being on the board? How do I get the most out of being a member of one of these?
I would say, I don't think listen, the association is only as good as its volunteers, right?
Right.
So I know some national associations struggle because it is all volunteers. We're very fortunate in New York State. We have a company who manages our association. So you have the financials, you have the marketing, you've got the advocacy at your capital. You have all of the agenda items, our agendas throughout the year. We have a spring and a fall academy. We have our annual conference. We have advocacy day. We have leadership weekend. We have, there's 18 chapters, and those chapters have their golf outings. They have the fishing trips. You can go to those things and have fun and take nothing out of them, or you can go to those things and shake hands and talk to people and understand the resources of what they offer and the knowledge they have. So, New Jersey's the same way. They have a CEO or executive director with Mr. Gurley. Phenomenal conference I just went to. Their credits that they earn at their conference. So in New Jersey, you have to, I could be off by a little bit, but I'm pretty sure I'm spot on. They need 20 CEUs over a 3-year period to maintain their jobs.
Oh,
if
wow.
they don't get those credits, see you later, right? So they can get 8 at their annual conference. So 8, if they go to 3 conferences, right, they can get their 24 and they're good. But if they miss the conference, they've got to go to a local trade show. They've got to take, this is all accredited through Rutgers University. So they've really got a great thing going on there. In New York, we have our Certified Director of Facilities accreditation. So I am one of 44 certified directors of facilities walking around in New York State currently, right? There's not a lot of us. We're looking to get it accredited. We have programs through Mohawk Valley Community College and Empire State College, but we're yet to put an accreditation stamp on it from another entity. We do have BOMA representatives look at the portfolios that are submitted before we test them to get their CDF. So it's a great foundation. There's different programs. I would say, personally, to get the most out of things, join your local chapter or local association. Definitely get to their annual conference. Use the resources that they're providing. And if you don't feel you're getting it locally, which is the case in a lot of states, that's why we only have 17 states in NSPMA, right? Try to find the nearest state that does. Do some outreach. Go on LinkedIn. Look at these folks like myself who are highlighting these professional developments and try to see where you can segue yourself in. You're hired by your district, So I would always say, whether you report to the superintendent or the assistant superintendent for business, make sure you're on the same page. Your dedication is to your students first, right? So make
Right.
sure that they understand what goals and visions you have, and most times they'll support you and allow you time away from your district to come back a better employee and implement these things that you're seeing. If you would have just went to New Jersey and you came back empty-minded, it was because you weren't paying attention. They had some great keynote speakers. They had Josh Peets and Tom Chiz. Josh Peets is from Be Awesome. You can find him on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Tom Chim is Armored One. You can find him on LinkedIn. They had a slew of business partners that had nothing but value and resources. Just if you're not connecting, it's your own fault. That's what I'm saying. There's lots of resources out there for anyone looking to become better. They're there. You just got to want to see them.
Right. So, so if I'm like in our Kansas chapter, does it make sense for me to go to the national show or the national conference?
Again, it depends. So when you hear national, you think, oh my gosh, that's got to be like at the Orlando Convention Center and 50,000 people, right? No, typically with your national conferences, you'll send one or two from your Kansas, we'll send one or two from New York, Charlie and Sean will send two from Missouri, and you're typically between 150 and 200 people at a national conference, because you're kind of, that mind concept is go train the trainer, let them go, let's see what everyone's doing, come back and communicate that to your Kansas NSPMA if you have one, right?
Yeah.
That's typically how, and then again, I always say if your budget's right and you're allowed the time, but I would also ask some folks that you can reach out to and say, hey, I saw that you went to that conference last year. What value did you bring back to your district, and kind of gauge it there. Another one is William Bland from GASFA, Georgia Association for School Facilities Administrators. It's in Savannah, Georgia, the third week in October. That sells out every year. As the president of NSPMA, he was on the board. He always comps one year for the president. I went down there, and I got to tell you, I was so impressed with their structure, their layout, their conference value, the meat of the agenda was all there. You just had to absorb it. That's all.
Right. Well, I mean, I've only been to one of our state conventions because I didn't go the first year I worked here, and then we had COVID. And then I went to the one right after COVID. I don't think we were all wearing masks and everything anymore, but it was right in that breakover point. Yeah. So, okay, well, that sounds good. I need to get more involved with our group. One of the things I've loved about doing this podcast is I get to pick everybody's brains, like you and
exactly
everybody else. And so I want to get out and meet some more people in person and start plugging into some of that here locally. But
no, I think you'll once you start doing that, I think you'll be amazed with the amount of information that's out there. And again, you can be overwhelmed, right? So again, it's find that circle that you most connected with, that you value their opinion. There's, you make up the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, type thing. Not to get cliche or quote a professional motivational speaker or anything, but find some facilities directors who you value their opinion, and ask those important questions. What conferences do you find value in? Can you tell me what you just took away from that conference that you just posted, that you just went to? What were the key factors? What are you implementing back in your district? Those are all, if they're on LinkedIn, they're more than welcome to speak with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, LinkedIn is a valuable resource. I put a thing out there saying, hey, does anybody have any good inspection forms?
Yeah.
For custodial cleanliness kind of inspections. I got like 3 or 4 of them right away. So
exactly.
It's a great resource.
Yep.
So are you guys having staffing problems and stuff there? Like, I guess the whole country is now.
We experienced that same shortage. I think at one point I probably had 11 positions open, even though we were actively trying to fill them. But there's civil service things, there's other hurdles. But as of right now, we are I think we're completely staffed except for one position. which will be filled soon. We now have established back a small custodial sub pool. So we can kind of limit some of the overtime from first shift staying late because, I'm not, you got two decisions. Yeah, we're not paying overtime. Well, then things aren't going to get done because you don't have anyone to do it. So we were fortunate enough where we got the approval to allow X amount of overtime from first shift or second shift to stay late to make sure that on any given day, when our students and our staff return, we want to make sure the building has been cleaned and disinfected because, even though COVID's somewhat behind us, we'll never be away from it, and we've implemented some pretty impressive features here in New Rochelle to set us on a good path. And, like I mentioned, I got a little over 3 years and I want to make sure my legacy here doesn't get burnt out the minute I walk out the door. So I want to set people up for success many years after I'm gone.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah. We are almost full. We had at one point, probably 2 months ago, we were down like 9 positions were unfilled, but I've successfully filled them all except for one, but it's just a matter of finding the right person.
And I think part of it is, and I live in a very dense area. Most of my staff, they don't just have one job. They typically have two, very common, generations of folks, but I think because a lot of the federal and maybe local funding related to COVID, related to financial assistance, I think a lot of those things are starting to get pulled back again. So I think people are realizing that they're going to have to get out and get back to work. And I think that is part of the reason we've seen an increase. And, you gotta get creative. Why would I want to come work for you, Burke? Right. So we're coming up with some creative ideas. We're highlighting our new hires. We're making them feel extra special. We're highlighting what we feel are the pros of the job and not so much the cons that, people are, for every one con, you got to have 10 pros. And that's unfortunate how those things equal out, but we're trying to highlight our existing staff, promote them, and also highlight our new staff and, making them feel welcome when they do decide to come on with us. So we're having success.
Well, good. Yeah, we're trying to do some of that creative stuff as well, just to make sure. My big thing is that people stay at work if they have a friend at work.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
If they don't feel like they're connected personally to anybody. So we're trying to do a better job onboarding and not just like, here's your stuff, get busy, really make some personal connections with people to hopefully just build a stronger tie here.
We recently, with COVID, we implemented a very robust air purification system. We've recently, in the last year, changed over our whole cleaning chemical system. These are all things that I've included my maintenance trades and my custodial team with because I really wanted their opinion. If I really can't be making decisions of that nature in a box and without any others' input. We did a couple pilot programs. Staff were very favorable of the new cleaning system we have, and it was really more their decision than mine. And I think that's what's made it such a positive change and enjoyable for all involved. So, we have a school to work program here with our foundations program. It's our special ed department, and we've given them facilities T-shirts and ID badges just like mine. And for 3 hours in the afternoon, they, the teachers are the real heroes, but, they tell them to get their shirts on, they get their badges on, they're wiping down tables, they're cleaning glass, they're picking up garbage outside. And I'm going to say that my high school has never looked better. And I attribute that to their collaboration with us. It's a great program. I recently put a video up on my LinkedIn page. It's about 3 minutes. That is one exciting program. I've done it in other districts, but it's really taken off here, and we're all very proud of that program.
Yeah, I saw that. For the first time, we started hiring some part-time students.
Nice.
And
we
so
do that in the summer. We have a school youth program. I hire 30 youth every summer. That's been going on for 5 years. We now have some part-time and a couple full-time staff members who started out as a youth worker 4 years ago. So it's been an interesting ride.
Well, there's such a push for the trades right now, HVAC and welding, all these, like,
Sure.
I'm trying to say, why, how can we like grow some of our own workforce?
Yeah.
And then it gets super complicated by insurance and all kinds of crazy stuff. So
It does. So there, that's a great point. And I know there's a lot of struggles like that. So being again where we are, where my office is in City Hall. So we have the second, third floor. There's a basement and first floor. Well, down below me is our City of New Rochelle Youth Bureau. So we partner with the Youth Bureau. We have an indemnity clause that covers both of us. And they do the interviewing and they give me 30 applicants. And then I go through, I do orientation, I assign them to which building they're gonna work at based at where they live and travel, transportation needs. And I can't tell you, how successful that's been. And to have some of those youth workers, I see their applications for full-time and hourly positions. It's like, yeah, they already know our system. They already know what we're doing. And it's great that you said grow your own. New York State School Facilities Association, every year we have a theme for our conference. Grow your own was one. It takes a professional for two, so some of those key buzz phrases are always with me. So it was it's a great saying, grow your own. Yeah.
So this is completely off the subject, but do most people drive their own car in where you live, or is it all pretty much public transportation?
Great question. No, a lot of folks do not drive their own car. A lot of folks take public transportation, or they Uber or Lyft even. They get a taxi, so to say, because a lot of my folks, they don't drive.
Yeah. Huh.
So
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
If you put some boy from Kansas out there, we wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, and our parking spots would be too small for those big trucks with the oversized tires.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we've had a great conversation. I always end this with kind of the same three questions.
Sure.
So you don't need long answers. It can be like pretty rapid fire, but what would your family say that you do for a living?
My three boys would say I do something at public schools, and my wife would say that I wouldn't be doing this job if it wasn't for the kids.
Yep. Amen. That's what I think too. It's super, I've said it before. It's the unexpected joy that I had no idea I would have when I took this job.
It's one of the best benefits of the job is being able to go to one of my buildings and actually be around the kids and see what they do every day.
Absolutely. So do you like using paper or digital for planning and note taking and that kind of stuff?
I mean, my desk is a mess right now, but on there is my presentation for Tuesday for our $30 million proposition. I have a notepad over here with my ongoing list of things that I write down, but honestly, I'm 51 and a half, and I've converted to almost all digital. Anything digital I like. Our work order system is digital. You want to use our facilities, it's on our website, on our facilities permit application. I try to do everything like because I tell everyone, don't text me, don't call me, email me, because
right.
I've got it in front of me and I will answer you before the day's out. But if you text me, I may miss your text. If you call me, I may forget what you said because the next person is going to ask me a question. But I do like digital for most things.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
So do you get your best work done like mornings, afternoons, evenings? What's your favorite time to get deep work done?
So I get here about 6:45 in the morning every morning, and most folks get here about 8 o'clock. I can't tell you how much I enjoy that first hour by myself. I plow through my emails, I get my checklist checked over, I plan my day. But you know how that goes. Your best intentions. I plan to do this today, and I did none of it, or I did all of it and then some. Every day is different, and that's another great attribute of this job. But I do like that morning by myself. But I do like those times, like I said earlier, that I get out into the buildings and I get to see the kids.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
it's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me.
Okay, Burke, anytime. And again, I'll see you on LinkedIn and reach out if you ever need anything. Okay, and I'll do the same.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
All right. Be
We'll
well.
meet sometime in person at a conference or something.
There you go. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.